easy now, guys. This is a deck that we've been really fond of lately. It's inspired by IFC Yipes' negative list. Running a pretty similar list, but we don't run Bast, which is an important note. We'll just start off like that. Cards in the deck, we've got the Hood, Ant-Man, Warlock, Angela, Psylocke, Zabu, Mr. Negative,
Mystique,
Mr. Negative, Absorbing Man, Iron Man, Magic, and Valk. So this deck is fundamentally based around Valkyrie. That's why we're running cards like that. Don't look that they kind of look a little bit out of place in a Mr. Negative deck. Cards like Ant-Man, Angela. And who else have we got? That is our Valk winner. And naturally Iron Man's in there. But Ant-Man and Angela, they're going to be able to win as a lane. If we fill the lane and then play Valkyrie at the end, what's going to happen is that the lane, everything's going to be set to 3, and then Ant-Man's going to get buffed, or then Angela's going to get buffed, or Iron Man's then going to take the lane to more than what they're capable of. So this is a really good counter to all them big decks that are out there at the moment. A lot of people doing Sherry into whatever, blah, blah, blah into whatever. And it's a good note to make as well that at the end of the game, all of the lanes are usually full, so we can't really get dragged around by aero either too much.
So, important thing to note when you're playing this deck is that if you are planning on using Valkyrie on a lane, it only affects the original and buffed attacks. It doesn't affect ongoing effects that your opponents have. So, say, for example, Devil Dinosaur might cause you a problem if you're trying to Valkyrie in that lane. Watch out for that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, positively. We've got Magic to long the game out a little bit as well, so we can get as negative draws. And Adam Warlock is pretty much the most replaceable card in here, but we do enjoy some Adam Warlock to get some extra negative draws, or to draw as Mr. Negative in a pinch.
Aye. So, ideally on turn 2, you want to be ramping with Zabu and Psylocke. This is best case scenario, getting your Mr. Negative out on 3, and then you're able to get as many negative draws off as possible.
Absolutely, positively. You can see we're running a pretty low stat line, so Bast does fit in here really well. However, we are having a lot of success without it also. So we're going to give it a spin for some games, guys. I hope you enjoy. Straight in. It do be taking us a while to match make. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Who are we gonna play? Man like Sassy. Alright, let's go. So don't want to pace out the Ant-Man too early. Pair of Killmonger. He's playing Nightcrawler, so he probably doesn't play Killmonger. So we're okay to play it out. However,
Killing here is kind of bad for us, but Zabu into we'd definitely draw the Mr. Negative. Seems like the best go for here.
Absolutely. So we make it look like we're challenging Kiln a little bit, and we always like to live in a world where we draw exactly what we need. Alright, so he is playing a move deck, so Kiln looks pretty much off the table. Could be a rough game for us. It's going to be a rough game for us. However, we do draw Mr. Negative on curve, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty nice. So, looking at this board, we really want to be drawing the Magic at some point in this game. And the Magic will allow us to play into Space Throne and get some more cards in there than just the one.
Alright, so we bomb this Mr. Negative out. Doctor Strange!
Of course, if we immediately draw the Magic and it's negatived, that Kiln is getting binned off.
Naturally. So we'll bin off the Kiln.
So what we're thinking here, guys, is that we will need to play in that lane probably more than they do. And worst case scenario, Valkyrie can make the space for an attack and we'll try and win a breaker.
Right, so we do have Valk now.
Saying that, the negative Valk should just win the space throne on her own. Assuming that we can make sure that they keep priority for the rest of the game.
I believe it sets itself to 3 as well. Are you sure about it? We'll find out.
Then I will take my statement back.
Alright, so for right now, we're just going to put Iron Man. No, the choice is negative zone or limbo. It seems kind of bad putting it in negative zone. But opposed to what, right? We could put it in limbo. He doesn't have 6. probably does have 6. But at least we make him chase it. Because it's not too bad playing Mystique next turn either. So we'll do that.
I am Iron Man.
He is indeed Iron Man. Alright, this seems okay-ish. Oh, order. Something like that. Ish.
So Angela and Ant-Man will become plus cards, but will still be negative unless we
We live in a
Valk
world.
it.
We live in a world where we draw Absman for the Valk.
Yeah.
Alright, opponent's not feeling it anyway.
Success.
Bit of a weird one. Some tough locations for us there, but Sazzy wasn't feeling it. Moving swiftly on. So, general gist of the ideal opening game, just not ideal locations, right? If that wouldn't have been negative zone, we'd have been in a really, really hype spot.
Yeah.
And if that hadn't been space throne, it would have been even better. But we move, we take those.
It goes to show you that a deck's versatile when all of the locations go against you and you can still kind of be pulling it out the bag.
Absolutely. So we're against Catifees. Rock's big time suck for Mr. Negative deck.
But we don't draw it, and that's cool.
Right, we'll just set up a little Angelet.
So
Not ideal here. We've opened all our win cons and no negative. But we could still draw negative on curve and sort this out.
So again, another game where none of the locations go in our favour. We'd ideally want to be playing Magic on 5, so unless we can ramp into it, it looks like it might be off the table. And we don't draw any ramp.
We could say we win this lane with Valk. It's looking pretty rough though. Do we have... We're probably not going to be able to Iron Man the Tony. So we could just Mystique as well and have this as a clear Valk lane. Magic the compound next to it. We can't even Magic the compound because of Dream Dimension.
It's looking pretty bad.
It's looking pretty bad. We'll see how this one pans out. You never know, he might play Storm or something, so don't want to retreat quite yet.
Alright, crossbones in the mid. So, still good for us that the highest power on the board at the moment is in the lane that we're planning on playing Valkyrie in. However, everything else about the hand looks bad for this location.
Yeah, I do think we out here. Unfortunate set of locations again. So we're going to make like a German car. We are Audi. Click retreat later anyway. 10 times out of 9 it doesn't work, but that one time might work. He played it. Shot.
Yes.
Alright, spin it again. So 1-1, 1-1. Rough locations, rough start. Difficult set of circumstances. But we're trying to bring you unedited, continuous games so we don't just cherry pick ones where we're absolutely kicking ass.
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
So the HUD in the mini lab is sort of a play to hope that we get some ramp into negative and then be able to play Valk and Absman potentially on the last turn, or just Valk and something else to win somewhere else.
And we do open all the win cons again. So it's going to be a big pass. The HUD in the mini lab also means we probably want a priority moving into turn 6, which is pretty cool. So we're able to get full maximum profit off Valk. So this is a large yikes. I can't lie. This is a large yikes.
So playing into Vibranium Mine's a bit bad for us in general. If we're not going to hit it with magic. With cards like magic, if you hit them into a lane that gives you an effect like putting cards into your deck, the magic effect will go first and change your lane, so it won't actually proc that off.
Yeah, we're looking pretty rough again.
Mr. Negative deciding to hide at the bottom of the deck is not exactly ideal.
I am.
That is also not ideal.
It's looking like the only potential Valkyrie lane will be the left lane.
Opponent do want to be snapping though.
So our options here are quite limited. We could think about taking extra energy for the last turn, but realistically we're not going to be able to get both of the win cons out either way.
No. We can give it a try though for nothing. He's also got Ant-Man in here, and Captain America. Yeah, we out. That really sucks.
The benefit of this deck is that you know whether or not you've drawn and can play your win conditions, whereas the opponent's going to find it a lot harder to tell what you're doing.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to get a game where we can truly highlight what goes on.
If not, we'll just nip one from the stream that we just did.
Alright, so we open Valk, which isn't great. It feels weird not wanting to open your win conditions, but we have got Zabu and Mr. Negative.
So as long as we can keep Tony Stark in the deck for the time being until after turn 3 when we've popped off the Mr. Negative, we should be onto a winner.
We'll use the Zabu over the Psylocke, because the Psylocke can still be useful later on.
And the Zabu remains useful the entire game as well.
So, I'm actually going to put Mr. Negative over here, because we don't really want to challenge this Sunspot as a Valk lane. And if we want to make it an Iron Man lane, Mr. Negative is probably not the best shout.
Yep, that's exactly true. It's not that we don't have the ability to challenge the Sunspot, however, because it's not an ongoing effect. If we're doing it right at the last, it can reduce Sunspot back down after they've done a bunch of soaking, which is good to know.
Alright, so we can go ahead and bin off Necroshah here.
Yeah, which also works for us.
Bit of an early magic. He wants to wave again.
Ooh. Wave after wave.
Bit of a weird spot.
Right now, the Fall 1 HUD's actually looking like the only decent option for us.
I'm going to go ahead and do that. Minilab will actually open up for 2 turns because of magic. Presuming that he doesn't play some sort of location disruption down mid.
Alright, the Roller Jubilee. Into a leader. That's nice to see.
Spooky. Spooky boy. Alright, opponent does want a snap.
So, a good draw for us here is Angela, because it means that without any ongoing effects that boost his stuff in the right lane, our last turn can contain just an Angela and a Valkyrie to win that lane and absolutely send it home.
It does.
We do have another turn though.
We do. So Angela is looking okay over here. We don't have to play it right now. What we could do is play Psylocke right now. And a demon. And then see how this next draw pans out. Hopefully we get Tony Stark.
Yeah. So in the deck at the moment, we've got Iron Man and Adam Warlock still to come out, and Ant-Man.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and snap that. 2 out of 3 chance. Seems good. Rams the Chavez. Understandable. We do get Warlock, which kind of sucks.
It's not the draw that we wanted.
No. However, everything should still be totally fine, as long as he doesn't put 3 cards down mid. So Valk was that last one. We copy it, and then we just play Mystique, because Mystique.
It is 3, and that should be fine.
Yeah, we could even bob this over here, just in case he tries to drag us.
So a major aspect to this deck is trying to let your opponents keep priority going into the last turns. Because that way, even with things like Doombots going wide, because they're already there, everything gets hit down to 3. The Angela will take a buff there. Absman will take that, doing the same in the mid. And then with more cards, we just have more power.
Yeah. That's an 8Q Beamer.
Nice.
It's a bit of a better setup that we were hoping to demonstrate. And still, again, things did not go ideal. We did not get the Tony, we did not get X, we did not get Y, but still managed to sort it out. Which is where this deck really shines. You don't have to draw Mr. Negative to win. You can win without it. But naturally, Mr. Negative makes everything a lot smoother. That's where Adam Warlock comes in as well.
Yeah.
Even though in the last 3 games Adam Warlock's done nothing, we like Adam Warlock. You could easily replace Adam Warlock with a Bast, reiterating.
Yeah. So your flexible spots for this deck, just while we're on the subject, Adam Warlock and potentially Psylocke. We do like the Psylocke though, and have been having some success with it because it's good to have a couple of ramp options rather than just the one.
I like that game before where we were able to ramp on turn 6, so we'd had 8 power so we could do the combo.
Yeah.
Right, so he wants to contest Kiln with a Sunspot, which is so-so. Oh, we do draw the ramp. We draw the ramp, we play the ramp. Pretty much how that goes. Got Colleen Wing for Collector. That actually seems fine to play Mr. Negative into there.
Yeah.
We've got the magic to extend the game, and we've got none of the win conditions in hand, so this is looking really fresh.
So we will have to concede left lane without a shadow of a doubt, just because we can't get the magic in there early enough to stop the kiln effect.
But that's fine.
But as a huge part of this deck hinges around being able to just completely dominate the lanes that you do play in.
Moving into the last turn. So
I'm feeling here like we probably could do with getting some Warlock draws off if we can, but the only option for that then becomes Ant-Man Warlock into Vormir. And that would assume that they can't play 2 cards in Vormir this turn.
there's a chance they might not be able to, and he might want to back Kiln. So I'm happy to go for that, and then this is a Valk lane. Seems A-okay with me. He does play 2 cards. You got our Mr. Negative. Oh, the Swarm's going to clutch it for him.
That's unfortunate, but we still get the second negative draw now.
We do have Valk. We've got Valk and Absman, which will be a great finish.
Yeah.
So we can extend the game.
So even though we've got the finisher of Valkyrie and Absman, we do need to take the extended turns so that we can make sure we've got enough monsters on board. If we don't have all the cards on board, then it nullifies the upside that you get from Valk and Absman somewhat.
So we're going to try draw a card here with Adam Warlock. We'll try. We do not succeed. We've drawn a card from Adam Warlock.
Okay, so speaking of ongoing effects that can be really difficult to get over, Morbius is actually one of those, because when we set the base power, it will still go up by 6, so we actually give that Morbius a buff with the Valkyrie.
So we're probably going to give that a swerve. Now, we not have to do anything with this hand right now. We're probably going to play Tony over here. And pray that gets us there. It'll be Tony, Mystique, Valk, maybe Swordmaster. So we could probably play Absman right now because we're not intend on using him.
That's a good call.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we don't need to. So it's going to be Tony, Mystique, Valk.
That'll be the entire turn.
Oh yeah, true. So we just play Absman now.
Yeah. And then we can play 3 cards into the 3 remaining slots.
Yeah. Lol, copy magic.
How low can you go? So, Tony Stark will take that right lane with the Ant-Man buff up to 11, 12 before doubling. So we should be fine with saying we can't get up to 24 in that lane.
Should be fine. We'll snap it and send it.
I am Iron Man.
Valk's gonna do a thing.
And that's the
Sweet.
game.
Yeah, Adam Warlock draw card. It's another beamer. How many games is that now, Como?
There's four games, 3 dubs, I think.
Alright. We'll do one more. And hopefully you guys have got an idea of the kind of play lines that can come out of this deck.
So you are thinking your Angelas and Ant-Mans to be winning your Valkyrie lanes, trying to get off your negative Tony Stark is obviously the biggest draw of the Mr. Negative decks in general.
About trying not to pace out the Ant-Man as well until you know what you're playing against, because getting pinged off by a Killmonger is devastating.
So we can live in a very rampy world where we got off an early magic if we want to here.
I don't hate that. It's a very interesting location, is all our deck. It's very game warping. So we would have 6 mana next turn if we were to do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And then worst case, we can just play Mr. Negative if we draw him.
Yeah. So it looks like he's playing a movement deck. Movement deck doesn't usually play Killmonger.
We do get the negative.
We do, though. So what we could do now, it'd be very cheeky. Play Mr. Negative in here. Play Adam Warlock over here. Get something from Expansion and play Tony. And start drawing some negative cards. And I'm confident with that. That's very cheeky.
Okay, Hulkbuster down to try and ruin that plan. We'll see what the expansion RNG brings. Not a great amount.
Not champion at all, let's face it. So, at 4 mana, this could have been anything, right? It could have been absolutely anything, and it just wasn't. So
It's probably looking like magic this turn.
yeah.
And we may have to sack the Altar of Death.
Yeah. We're going to just have to start trying to get stuff going.
Yeah. So with that 0-1 HUD,
We'll put it here. Because
Yeah.
the demon's actually going to get a buff in Washington, D.C.
so taking the extra energy that we would get by playing the HUD first doesn't really do too much for us if we're not able to get off these draws, because we don't want to dump everything in the hand on turn 6 as we're going into 7 turns in this game anyway.
Opponent will be making some questionable plays. Kind of want to get the Iron Man off. I don't hate doing this. We could draw Mystique. We could risk it all and try draw with the Warlock.
But then we're saying that the opponent can't put a 10 in there ever, which
Yeah.
realistically you would say they'd probably be able to at some point.
Let's do this. If we can get negative Mystique here, that'd be sweet. Or even if we could draw Valk off the top, we could try Valk the Warlock lane. Okay. This is what he's been building up to. And a Raku.
Mm-hmm.
I am Iron Man.
Nice. We actually do draw the Mystique and we get a draw from Warlock. Let's go on a Warlock.
So the opponent hasn't been able to buff the Vulture or the Human Torch yet, but just a note on why it works good against movement decks is that if they had been, striving to get those buffs off, then if and when we eventually do get the Valkyrie, it would knock them all back down because none of them are ongoing effects.
And he's unable to pull right anymore. So he'd have to put some bulky stuff in here, and most of his chunky stuff's gone. So I am tempted to drop the Mystique here, which would be 6, 7, 8. That would tie a Heimdall. And we could put, well, if we put this here, that's probably sending that home, saying we've definitely won that lane, and we try draw a Valk.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Feeling confident?
I plays a Nakia randomly, and a Craven.
So yeah, with a couple of negative draws, this is looking completely in the bag. So the Elfman wouldn't have been as useful, but there comes Valkyrie. So Valkyrie can pretty much take whichever lane she's played in home. We have priority in this one, so...
Buffing our stuff doesn't seem bad.
Yeah, so we will get buffs in that right lane, and then Mystique has obviously got the Iron Man effect. And we also get the buffs in the mid lane, and the Ant-Man should send that home, so... It's looking pretty good.
Be interesting to see how we lose this one. So from earlier, yeah, Valkyrie does set herself to 3 as well.
Yeah.
And there's Ant-Man winning that lane for us. And he just rams Heimdall. Because, well, you already know by this point.
They just can't help it.
But yeah, that was a great showcase for the deck, guys. That's 5 games. Hope you got an idea of some lines, even if they weren't the greatest of opponents. No offense, Amir. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you all soon.
Peace out.